Hey, welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you, and thanks for checking out the channel. Hope everybody's doing fantastic out there. Hope you're safe. To my neighbor in cities very close who have been dealing with a lot of destruction today, thinking about you and hoping we all get through this night okay. It's been a very scary couple of days down here in Florida. Very much thinking about everybody over on the west coast of things and what they're dealing with right now as they are getting the head-on hit. And tornadoes been popping up left and right in my neck of the woods like crazy. So very much thinking about everybody and hope everybody is doing okay. I did get a chance to watch the Jimmy Butler starting five documentary today. And I say that because I basically was just skipping to the Jimmy Butler parts. That was the great thing about the Netflix thing. I cranked through all 10 episodes. There was one, I think, that was Jimmy Liss. But I cranked through all 10 episodes, kind of scoping the Netflix scene and being able to watch it. And actually it was I watched the thing that was the most heartbreaking today, like right before I got in the air. I was like, whew. It was one of those things where, like, right before the radio show was starting, because it was revealed that in this last season Jimmy Butler was dealing with the real heartbreaking passing of his father. His father was dealing with a terminal illness that he learned about in the 2023 playoff run. Jimmy learned about it apparently before Game 7 and went on to win the MVP, bring his dad the trophy. And they were, this is a man he was very, very close with, a man that he, lived with him and went to his games and played dominoes with him from the time that he was a child, and obviously meant the world to him. And to have this out there now, and you could really see, like, look, everybody, I think with Jimmy, the guy puts on this very tough facade as a very hard-nosed, gritty basketball player, plays like a badass. To see that vulnerable side of Jimmy was it was gut wrenching, man. It was gut wrenching, and it especially hit the when he gets the news. Spoiler alert for everybody who isn't watching the series, but I imagine that if you clicked on this, you probably either have seen the stories about it or have watched it. But the idea that he has this incredible game against the San Antonio Spurs, has a triple-double, brings the shoes to his father, asks the doctor if his father's going to be okay because he's going to go to a wedding. He had some time away from the team because they had a few days off. And as soon as he gets off the plane, he gets the news. And it was absolutely heartbreaking. And on the other side of it, you get this from Jimmy where he says no amount of money in the world could bring him back. Basketball, no matter how much I played, it couldn't fix that. Right after the All-Star break, my teammates really needed me to be a lot better, but I couldn't care less about basketball right now. It's a human side of it, man. It is definitely one of those things that if you play the way that he plays, which is, balls to the wall, full passion all the time, it was a tough watch to hear that stuff from Jimmy was really, really sad, really, really sad, and I really felt for him. We got that news last year, that he was dealing with a death in the family, that there was personal news that he was dealing with, but the Heat didn't reveal what it was. Although I think I read in Ira's article today that Pat Riley and Ellsberg, they were at his father's funeral. And that's the thing, man. Is it's tough because you think even to the Eastern Conference Finals where he gets the news that his dad is really sick, and you still got to go perform because you have like this responsibility as a teammate, as an entertainer, and all this type of stuff to kind of put that away, go do your job, and then go do the thing. And people are really, really seeing your results in that case too. I know that we all have to kind of grind through tough things in our life and personal things in our life, but not really with the world watching. That is a very, very different wrinkle to this. And knowing that your other teammates are counting on you to perform well because all of these things are dependent on you as the star, the number one dude on the team. So it was certainly, I think, if you came out of that and didn't have a different perspective on last year, I don't know. I think that's cold-hearted if you didn't. And then on top of it, obviously, had the MCL sprain that he suffered. They did an incredible job with the behind-the-scenes stuff on that, where he tried to play through this rough injury in the play-in game, and then obviously couldn't go. It was one of the worst injuries that he suffered as a Heat player, and still tried to gut through it. And look, I think if you know this channel, you know the way I've stood with the Jimmy Heat thing. I was very much on. I understand the Heat's complaints and the Heat's thoughts and hesitations on giving Jimmy Butler new contracts and all this type of stuff, but I look at it as the Jimmy Butler era with the Miami Heat has been incredible. All things aside, it has been a home run success. And if the guy just wanted a tack-on year at the outset of this, I thought that he had done enough to warrant it. But this is the business of sports too. So that stuff is sometimes set aside. They don't think about the emotional and spiritual. It's not like that he didn't know about that stuff either. So very, very, very interesting documentary. I thought that you got an insight into Jimmy trying to play through pain because, they showed there was the New York Knicks game. I think we all remember there was a play-in tournament game. Remember, Jimmy goes for the three at the end. He misses it. Even hear him on there. He says, I'm going for the win. But he rolls his ankle twice. And then he talked about how playing through pain is part of it. But when you don't feel right, he's like, I don't feel like I can do my job right. And that is, I think, with all the injury factors on Jimmy, he's a guy who definitely, it's not that he never plays through things. Look at the play-in game or look at how he was in the playoffs last year when they really, really needed him. But in regular season games, if there's an opportunity to get fully right, yeah, he definitely tries to get fully right. There has been a kind of method to the injury handling madness. Also very interesting seeing how he, works out without shoes and whatnot. But, he really, I think, gave a lot as far as revelations in Netflix. I'll go back and I'll watch. I don't know if the other players did as much. I watched the first full episode, so I saw, LeBron being pissed about the minutes restriction, and I saw a little bit halfway through 2, and then I was kind of just like, I'm just going to watch the Jimmy Butler parts, because as much as I'm enjoying Anthony Edwards, I kind of just want to get through this. And yes, seeing how he goes through his process of ramping his body up and getting through things and all that type of stuff, it just kind of felt like last year was one of those. It must have been a nightmare for him, because it's not even like, first of all, just the baggage and the pain of playing without one of your, not only your dad but one of your close friends. And a guy that you see every day and lives with you, and just you had that covered. And the one thing I think that was noticeable with Jimmy, that guy, his hub that he has of as he says, his people, that means a lot to him. And to have maybe the main guy, the main support system that's there for you, the guy that is proud of you, that sees you every day, beaming with pride because of what he's seen you grow up into. There was an interesting part where he had said that he didn't like how his father would wear his basketball jersey in the house because he doesn't like basketball in the house. And he's like, he realized in the aftermath of all of this that it was just because he was so proud of him. And I was like, man, that's that was tough, man. That was tough. So, yeah, I don't know how any Heat fan could watch this Jimmy Butler episode and not, first of all, be fired up about the guy, because I do think that he is he's been an awesome player for the Miami Heat. He's given the Heat fan a ton of memories. He's given the Heat fan a lot of exciting, thrilling moments. Yes, he has not gotten to the mountaintop, but he actually talked about that as well, which I'll get to here in a second. But, you see all that, and then you realize, like, yeah, one of those years, it doesn't always go your way. The injury thing was certainly an element. But then you had the personal grief that you're dealing with on top of all of that, and you're keeping all that to yourself. Brutal, man. That's a heavy thing to carry all year, and to reach, I guess, reach deep down and be like, I just don't have the same feeling for the job right now as I do normally. I can't reach down. My safe haven isn't that anymore because I don't have this piece of my life here anymore. It was tough to see that. If you guys haven't seen all of it, and trust me when I tell you, if you're a Heat fan, I think you're gonna want to go see this to get that look, unless you don't feel like crying, because it is sad. It is. It was a tear. It was a tearjerker for that. There were some fun moments of levity though. You got to look behind emo Jimmy. That was his nanny's idea, so that was hilarious, and it was great seeing all this South Florida. I was bummed. I was like, a little jealous. Didn't make the South Florida sports cameo. My boy Zach Krantz did though from 560, so good for him. I let him know. I was like, hey, cameo right off the bat in starting five. The other thing that was great, and this is like Goosey's galore as a Heat fan. They were asking him about Boston and the Boston series ending, and his knee is all jacked up. And he goes, I don't want to stop asking me about Boston. I don't want to talk about Boston. Boston. I was like, yeah, that's good. That's good. And that to me, is one of those things where when people talked about this year and what Jimmy was going to bring to this team this year, first of all, I'm sure having, a summer of what must have been just a nightmare few months, traveling the world, resetting, getting your mind in a better place. I'm not suggesting that you're ever over anything like that, but I imagine it is very therapeutic and does help somewhat. And then you do add the job side of it, the professional side of it, where you have like this, man, Boston. And Boston went and won. And there is that competitive element. And I have been curious about, like, everybody who thinks that this is going to be Timberwolves 2.0. One that I think has always been the biggest thing is he's not 27 anymore. So you have that side. But then you have this professional side of it that's just like, man, Boston. I can't believe that they won. It has to be infuriating to Jimmy Butler to see that. Ergo, when Pat Riley had his comments about you develop hate. Because I think everybody always knows how Pat stuck the landing on an answer, right? Where just keep your mouth shut if you're not on the court with those teams. But if we can rewind the start of that answer.
We played, I've been involved in competition and playoffs against certain opponents that turned into hate, even since we've been here, I hate to use that word, but the competition gets so tough that you don't like one another. And so we played Boston 4 times, I think, in the playoffs since Jimmy's been here. So, you do develop some dislike for the other team.
You do develop a bit of hate for those teams. Pat knows it. Who embodies Boston more than Pat Riley? Nobody. Goes and reminds you to Pat Riley. Who does Jimmy Butler remind you as a player? Me. That's what Pat Riley said. So I am very curious to see Jimmy months to physically heal, emotionally heal, but professionally driven. Whether it also be by a huge ass contract that's that he's going to try and go earn, or also to stick it to a team that he really friggin' hates. And I will say for the Heat fan, the very ending, if you didn't watch the very ending, it was almost like a bonus credits thing for a Heat fan. But at the end of it, Jimmy Butler, they give like a little epilogue, and they go 100% healthy, and he goes and talks about his goals and what he wants to get done, and he says, I know I owe the city, and I know I owe the organization a championship. It's pretty Goosey's galore right there, dude. Right there from the man himself, in that he does still have, for everybody who's like, hey, is this relationship going to be okay? Is the drive going to be there? He doesn't want to go anywhere. Yeah, I get it. Everybody thinks that they're waiting for the grenade to launch. Hey, if the Heat go suck and there's bad games and this all blows up in their face, not saying that doesn't happen. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I don't think it is. I think this team looks pretty damn talented, and I think that having a reinvigorated Jimmy Butler, a healthy Jimmy Butler, a healthy squad, a team that looks like it's going to play a little bit more fun. It was interesting seeing some of the basketball things that Jimmy talking about. He was asked about what the team was last year. He was playing tennis, and I'm paraphrasing, but I think it was somebody asked him, like, well, what are you guys? He goes, we're not good. He goes, we're not bad. He says, we're mediocre. We're the embodiment of mediocre. We're not connected. We don't play for each other. We don't, and I think all of that was just so felt last year. And I just will say, in the early goings of it, it does feel very much like the Heat have just a happier atmosphere this year. They just do. Even you look at the first preseason game, look at all the bench standing up, watching the Summer League guys, the Summer League champs, try and win that game at the end with the Hornets. Fired up, dude. So that was, the Netflix thing, 10 out of 10 on the interesting, great watches that there were. Heartbreaking stuff. Like, impossible not to just feel awful for Jimmy and what he went through last year. But also impossible not to feel like, oh, it kind of all makes sense now. Like, and I get it. There's, for the bastard cynic that's out there that's like, oh, yeah, but there's other years he didn't. Come on, dude. The vibes of last year, the attitude of last year, the mood of last year, knowing all of this, that it's now all public, it'd be impossible for you not to be like, hit your head and be like, oh man, now it all makes sense. So, yeah, hell of a job by Netflix. Awful that Jimmy, had to go through that this past year. That was definitely a tough watch, but was very captivating, man. It was a captivating thing, and even not just heartbreak stuff in this series. There's fun stuff about him. There's a lot of stuff that's Goosey's worthy. I think any Heat fan would be coming away with this very, very interested, and definitely with a different perspective on how last year ended. I think that it'd be impossible not to have that feeling after watching it.